35 years ago. And the love and the support that you've given me over those years has been amazing. You've just been tremendous, and I'm proud to call you my mother-in-law and brother-in-law. Thank you. I want to thank all my grandkids, Mackenzie, Quentin, Jackson, Samson, Kaylin, and Levi. You guys are the light of my life. You're the reason that I wake up every morning is because of you. So I want to thank you for that. Jennifer, thank you for giving me your mother. Thank you for accepting me and for allowing me to become a part of your life. You know, and I look forward to the day that I can go down to Honduras and meet the rest of your family. And for Darwin, and for Diana and Glennie and Jason, for Jacqueline, Josue, Jocelyn, and Gabby, I look forward to meeting each one of you. To Jay and Jonathan, my son-in-laws, thank you for loving my daughters. Thank you for being great husbands and for being great fathers. You guys are wonderful, and I am so happy that my daughters have wonderful men in their lives and they can lean on you. To my daughters, Ashley and Brandy, I can't tell you how proud I am of you. All the lessons that your mom and I tried to instill in you, you've learned them. And because of what you've done and who you are, this became possible. So thank you so much for being who you are, and thank you for learning the lessons that we tried to teach you. You know, I really do appreciate how much you've accepted Karen, how much you've learned to love her, how much you've learned to give to her, and I'm glad that, you know, we have a great life together because we can include everybody. I know there's so many marriages, second marriages, where the people, you know, the kids don't like the new wife or whatever, but you've accepted her and you've learned to love her, so thank you. And Karen, my sweet, sweet Karen. You know, we started, you know, on Christian Mingle. For those of you who don't know our story,
I was there.
we started on Christian Mingle. You know, I got my hair cut one day, and I got a photograph taken that same day, and I put my profile out there because I was wondering, I didn't know what God had in store.
It was the haircut.
It was the haircut. Okay.
Oh, it was the photograph. I did that photograph.
And I was just getting on Christian Mingle, and Karen had been, you know, with her counselor, and she told her, go out there, put yourself out there. And she had gone out there, and she had about 25 bad dates or whatever. And she was about ready to get off, but she gave it one more shot. And she saw my profile, and she contacted me. And so we started emailing each other. And, you know, it was late at night, you know, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and it's like, okay, we got to do something a little bit different. So we exchanged phone numbers, we started talking, and I think the second time we talked till about 1:30 in the morning, and we just opened our hearts to each other. It was so natural, it was so perfect, that the only way that would have happened is that God inspired it. And we started dating, and our first date was at Olive Garden over there on Bitters and 281. And we sat in the restaurant for about 2 hours, and we were talking, and then we decided to go outside, and they had a bench out there, and it faced the Target sign. So we went and watched the Target sign for about 3 hours. And when we went outside, I thought, you know what? If this is going to work, she's got to know something about me. So I tried to tell her every bad thing about me, about my personality, my health, everything. And she didn't run. Now, if it was me, I would have ran. I would have been gone, you know, but she didn't.
Well, you had me chained to the bench.
Oh, is that right? And because she didn't run, we decided to go for a first date, or another date. And this was on her birthday. And this, I'll tell you what, guys, if you can pull this off, it works amazing, because we went to the movies, and I let her pick the movie, and she picked an action flick. It's like, wow, this girl likes action flicks. So we went on like a Tuesday night. It was her birthday. We had the entire theater to ourselves. There was not a single person in there. So we got to talk and laugh and cut up during the entire movie. So, I told her I planned it that way, but, said I rented out the entire theater for it. But as we kept going and we kept talking and we kept learning about each other, we went through some great times, we had some great laughs, we went through some hard times. There was the time that Jennifer called and said, I had gone to the store, Jennifer had called while I was gone, and I came back and she was crying. And she said that there was a group of men going around in Honduras who didn't like anybody who had non-black hair. You had to have black hair. So Jennifer had to dye her hair so that she wouldn't be harmed. And I came back and Karen was just crying on the couch. And all I did was hold her and hug her and just comfort her. There was other times that, we cried together. But then there were the times that, somebody just melted because she got scared. Because I just came out of a room in my house and just scared the crap out of her. But in the end, God laid it on both of our hearts that we were supposed to be together for the rest of our lives. And the night I proposed to you was a joyous occasion. So, for those of you who don't know, I took her out to eat at one of the Brazilian steakhouses downtown, and I was going to propose in there, and a table of 14 showed up, and they were loud and obnoxious. Great, thank you. So I didn't get to do it there, so we walked over. And how many of you know about Marriage Island on the Riverwalk? Okay. So we were walking, I said, man, my legs are hurting. Can we sit down for a minute? And so we stopped off on Marriage Island. And there was this lady with a couple of kids, and they were taking pictures, and we waited for them to go along. And just as they were leaving, another couple came up. And we're like, really? Come on. So I waited for them patiently in my head thinking, leave, just leave, please, hurry up, please. It's August. I have a suit coat on. I'm hurrying up. Karen asked me, can I take your coat? I said, no, because the ring's in the pocket. So we do that, and so we sit there, finally they leave. So I'm talking to her and I say, you know what? We've done a lot of things, we've talked a lot and stuff, but I think there's still one more thing we need to do. And later she told me, she said, what? Do we need to go counseling? What do we need to do? I got down on one knee and I asked her to marry me. And as I was taking the ring out, I turned the box upside down so the ring fell out. And I was trying to turn it over, and then it fell out onto the ground on the island, and she's thinking it's going to go into the river. Luckily it didn't. I found it, and I asked her to marry me. She gave me an emphatic yes. And as we were sitting down, a barge came by with the tourists. And the guy says, and this is Marriage Island, and there's about 200 marriages here a year, and it looks like he just proposed to her. And Karen waves her hand and says, yes, look! And we got a clapping ovation at that point. So we decided, this was a good thing. So we called a bunch of people and texted them and let them know and everything. And luckily my grandson Quentin didn't give it away because he saw the ring a week beforehand and said, Karen, Papa got you a ring, So.
The day before the proposal.
Yeah, But we worked hard to get to where we're at. Karen, you worked hard on yourself. From where you were, from what you've told me, to where you are now, you worked so hard on yourself to make you a better person. And I want to say, I want to be a better person for you, and you make me a better person. I love you with all of my heart. I love you to the moon and beyond. So thank you for marrying me. Thank you for being my wife. And I want to just thank everybody again here that you get to celebrate what God put together. It wasn't us. God put this union together, and I am so thankful for it. So, thank you.